say something?
I have been.
I think it's going.
Okay. I guess we'll just have to do it over if it's not working, right?
Yeah.
So we're all pretty familiar with each other, but I'm Paige, and I'm one of the last few Pro-Tech Comm majors here. My minor's in English for new media, and I transferred here just like Garrett did my sophomore year. I think we were in the same transfer group actually, like that first day. You probably don't remember.
I didn't go to whatever they assigned for us to be at, so
I was with a bunch of baseball players.
I wasn't one of them.
So before I get started, I had this awesome student website built, and then the DSU systems failed. So that really demonstrated like HTML coding and stuff, and I was really confident in it, and it was really awesome. So I'm sad you guys can't see it, but if they ever get that working again, you can go check it out. And also, since I'm a genius, I managed to delete all of the files and my OS, my operating system, off of my laptop, maybe like a year ago. So all the files, everything that I worked with my first 2 years at DSU, gone. So this isn't, I'm missing some files that I would have liked to include here. But this is what I have and what I have saved. So I'll just start with this one. I really wanted to show the graphs, but I can't see anything. So I took this class from BHSU. It's mass media issues, and it was in place of writing for the web. I really liked this course, and I feel blessed to have the opportunity to be able to customize my degree. I feel like after all the courses that I've taken, I really feel more of a mass communications major more than anything. This project was on the influence of mass media on youth development, and I sent out a lot of surveys and stuff to parents asking, how media, television, etc. influences their children. And like I said, I really want to go look at the graphs, but I just don't want to fight with the computer. I think it was 80% of parents believe that mass media has influenced or will influence their children. And it was close to 90% that they believe mass media is beneficial in the educational atmosphere. So I really we did a lot of papers and stuff like this, mass media issues. It was a really good course, so if you have to recommend it for somebody. Again, this is my undergrad research project that I did with Dr. Nelson, and we had a heck of a time during the semester trying to get through this. I did my project on copyright laws and kind of how to avoid copyright infringement. Now looking back, the topic was really broad, so I should have narrowed it down. And we ran into some obstacles. But I did learn a lot in this project, and I do use it a lot at work, so I'm pretty pleased with how it turned out in the end, I suppose. And I included 36 hours in Madison too, and if you click on this, it'll take you straight to the link on Trojan Times. My pieces were Mocavino and the shops, and I kind of led class discussions for this one. I'm really proud of how this project turned out too. This was my first, I worked on a lot of collab projects here, but this was my first big collab project, and it was really stressful. And I wanted to include new tricks, but I didn't want any spoilers. So I didn't know if they were allowed to see the spoilers or who was coming. So that will be Thursday, so you should come to that. I'm sure you guys will. Shameless plug.
6:30 in the library.
6:30, yeah. This is the Photoshop class with Ren that I took. So the project was to take a picture of yourself, a selfie, and recreate it using only fruits and vegetables. And I felt like this Photoshop class, I use it all the time at work. And I also feel like the InDesign class I took with you was really beneficial, and I use that all the time too. I'm really proud of how this project turns out. It does look like me, I think. And these are chili peppers in my hair. There's over 200 in there. I didn't realize how much time everybody else was spending on their project. I spent hours more on this than everybody else, so I wish I would have thought that through. And these are some of the other projects that I did. This was an overlay, so it's an image of a soldier, and then I overlaid a picture of the flag. Kind of an abstract picture of the flag. And the same with the image next to it. I think that one has 5 images overlaid in it. And I wish I could pull it up larger, but again, I can't really see what I'm doing. And this is the last one that I included. I hope they load. Okay, so I have 2 different resumes that I did throughout my time here at DSU. This first one was portfolio and professional development, and I took that, I think I took that my sophomore year, so the first year that I was here. And the one on the left there, or you guys is right, is one that I did this semester in publishing. And so you can kind of see how much I improved. And I know a lot of you guys say like, oh, I know you've done, you know, resumes and stuff in the past and I don't want to repeat myself. I say do it because look at how much better it got. And my style changed and it's something that I have a better idea of what I'm doing. So first resume to last resume here at DSU. Throughout the time too, I learned kind of what you should include in a resume. And I had an idea what to include, but now that I'm actually applying for jobs, I didn't put references on my resume. Because now people don't seem to call them as often, and they'll ask you if they want them. And I still kept my social media links and things like that, but I did take out like honors and awards, and I put things that I felt were relevant to what I'm going to be doing. So those are my 5 projects. I didn't have specific courses that I had to do like Garrett did. I just picked 5 projects that I liked. So if you guys have any questions, now's the time.
I can always think of questions.
So how is your major different than the English for new media?
My major focus is on writing, and like I said, after all is said and done, and after all the substitutions, I probably had somewhere between 6 and 10 substitutions in the end. So it does feel more like a mass communications degree to me. But I'm a strong writer, and that's kind of where it differentiates. And additionally, before you say something, one course that I couldn't really include anything, but I felt was super, super helpful was the Visual Basic course, the programming course. And I know students hate it, especially the English students hate it. But I felt, after I finally got a teacher that worked with me, I felt that it helped so much. And I do use it on our radio station website all the time. So it's nice to have just that basic HTML. And that's one thing that I am really, it's tough, but I'm really glad that I took it.
Did you do an internship at KJM?
Yeah,
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I actually included some of the stuff that I did, just in case. So I actually work there now. I do a little bit of everything, from sales and marketing to, I wouldn't say graphic design, but graphic design. And these are some of the things that I did here. This is an infographic up at the top. These are some posters that I made. And we have different events, like we did the poker run, and I was in charge of putting the shirts together, making the logo, making the posters, etc. And the map. The map was a pain in the butt. And these are basically like ads and posters. These ads go in our severe weather guide. I'm making a new one now. So that'll be out in a couple months at the lake. So you guys should go check that out when I'm done. But that's basically what I do and what I did during my internship.
Paige, what's your dream job?
I don't know. That's a good question. My sister started a company in Aberdeen. It's called Matchbox Rec. And right now she's just working with the club volleyball teams, the JO volleyball teams. And I come from a really big volleyball family. And I would like to do marketing for her when she is able to grow the company. Right now they just broke ground on land, so she doesn't have the facility yet, but she's got the program in the company. So that's something I would like to do in the future.
Are you looking for marketing type jobs or?
Yeah, the jobs that I'm applying for right now are like content specialist kind of jobs, but I'm in the middle. I'm still just trying to decide if I want to stay at KJM and work with the sales team. I'm trying to decide if that's something that I would be happy doing, because it's a job there waiting for me, but I don't know if it's something that I would really be happy doing.
And that's one of the problems that you've encountered on the entering the job market, is the idea that these sales and marketing positions are
Yeah.
attracted to you, but
Mhm.
then when you go to them, they're very sales oriented, and that's
They
not
hide
really,
it from me, and then I
yeah.
show up and they want me to sell stuff.
Yeah, and that's not really,
It's happened on more than one
Yeah.
occasion. I've had a couple interviews, but nothing has really stuck.
mhm,
They've been offered a job, it's not a job that I wanted, so I said no.
mhm.
So I'm just waiting to either decide whether or not I want to stay here or find something that suits me. So I'm
Yeah.
kind of on the fence right now.
I have a kind of unfair question, more about the program and your experience. You know, you came, and I remember talking to you and I think your mom in the dean's office about the program, and at the time the program was ongoing for professional and technical communication. Then very shortly after you came, the decision was made to sort of eliminate it and then phase it out. And you know, I'm so proud that you're one of our graduates of that program, and I think you are showing some great work. But my question for you is, do you see a value at DSU in having a program like this that has to do with writing, rather than, as Garrett's question asked, how is it different than English for New Media? And I know that this program was different, but do you see a value in having a program still like this?
I do. I'm glad you asked that question, because I was going to say something about it. I don't feel that a program such as professional and technical communication would attract a lot of students, but I do feel like a COJO major, communications journalism major,
Yeah.
definitely would. I really, really think that. Because there's not, and I know English for New Media kind of encompasses that, but when people see English for New Media, they don't really know what it's about. So that's kind of, you know, what drew me to this degree was the word communication, you know. So that's kind of where I ended up, and I do think that a COJO major would do well here. I really feel that.
That's helpful.
Did you look at other communications degree plans? Like, have you looked, like SDSU has one, I think maybe USD has one, and frankly, you know, one of the problems is once some places like that claim them, then they try to keep other programs like that developing in the system. So if USD and SDSU say, we already have that degree, why do you want it? And they'll sort of, it's territorial, and they'll try to prevent us from having a degree like that. So I don't know if you looked at, you know, if you've looked at those to see what kinds of things they have. So like the one out of Black Hills, I suspect that they have something like that, some kind of journalism thing where they're,
Theirs is,
They have
yeah,
that
more
course.
journalism geared.
yeah.
And I think I'm taking one this semester too from BHSU. Or SDSU, one of them. But I know BHSU's is very journalism geared, whereas SDSU's is more of a mass communications type thing. I did look at other schools. When I transferred, so DSU is my third school, I went to the University of St. Thomas, and I was an elementary education major. And I decided that's not what I wanted to do. I'm glad I made that decision, by the way. I ended up here because I knew it was a good school. My sister went to school here, and I wanted to stay in the area. I didn't want to go to a school as big as BHSU or SDSU. I didn't want that, because I did that, wasn't for me. So that's kind of how I went about it.
And even with all your substitutions, which we had to really
Yeah.
work hard for, do you feel like, do you feel prepared to kind of go out and do what you want to do if you can find the job, the dream job?
I do. And I feel like that in combination with where I work right now has really prepared me, because the things that I didn't learn here and learned at work have really prepared me for what I want to do. like digital targeting. I didn't learn a lot about that here. I hear about it every day at work, so it's something that we talk a lot about.
Other questions, comments, anything?
The things that you have on the screen there, were you creating those with InDesign? Those InDesign projects?
Most of them are Photoshop. I think I did this one in InDesign, which seems weird looking at it, but I was struggling with Photoshop that day. Just because these are images, I work with Photoshop more.
Here's a question that we threw at some of the people that have gone through already this year. If you were to give advice to the freshman Paige when she was first going to school, and you knew that she might heed it, heed the advice, what would you tell her?
I don't know, I'm pretty proud of what I've done so far, and I'm happy with all the courses that I took. I took courses that were challenging, but really fun for me, and that's something that a lot of students don't get to do. I got to choose, every single course that I chose was something that was interesting to me. You know, sometimes in your major there's 1 or 2 courses where you're like, oh, that sucks, I don't want to take that. But I got to take all the courses that I wanted to. The one course that I absolutely did not want to take was that Visual Basic, and it ended up being so helpful.
Maybe just to tweak that a little bit then. So you're not giving advice to yourself, you're giving advice to a freshman or a sophomore here at DSU. What advice would you give to students to get to the point where you're at, where you're saying, I'm really very satisfied with my education, I've enjoyed it, I've learned a lot?
I took classes, I did kind of half and half, because when I showed up here I wasn't done with my gen eds. And to me, gen eds were kind of miserable, like the science and the math were kind of miserable. So I took a little bit of each. So I would take my science with 3 English courses one semester, and then the next semester I would take Intro to Computers with 3 English courses. So it was something that kept me interested in what I was doing and kept me focused, versus feeling like you're still in high school taking your English, your math, your science, your history. And that was one thing that I really tried to aim for, because I knew if I took those math, science, histories all in one semester, I would lose my mind, because I lose patience, because it's not interesting to me. So I made it a point to take courses that were interesting, and I would lump them together.
What do you think you learned about your own education that helped prompt you to ask questions? Because one thing that I've always valued about having you as a student is that you are never afraid to just ask me a question. Like, I read this in the course, I don't understand what you're saying, you know, and I think a lot of times students, I don't know if it's students here or just students in general that I'm encountering lately, tend to not be so forward to ask questions. So can you think of maybe what it is that prompts you to always ask if you don't know?
I get said that at work. A lot of people will tell me, you always ask questions.
It's
And then
great.
sometimes I even get, oh, you ask too many questions. But to me, I would rather understand what I'm doing. And a lot of that's prompted by my personality. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like to know what's going on. And even if I'm a little bit confused, better to ask. I mean, that's what you guys are there for, so that I can ask.
Yes. But you can't think of maybe one specific thing that's ever prompted you to think, oh, I should, instead of being confused about this or maybe not making progress, I should just ask or reach out or something. Just maybe a combination of personality type.
I would say it's just, I've always been like that, even in high school and in junior high. If I was confused, I asked. And I can't give you a reason to why I'm like that. It's just how I am and like how I grew up in my household.
Sure.
So.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. And Any other questions? Anything else for us, Paige?
I don't think so. I think I said everything that I need to say. I'm really bummed out that I didn't get to show you my cool website.
Well, also, we should comment and say what great skills on show for being able to show something else on the fly like that after, what you had expected to show disappeared in a sort of freak incident.
That's what a website looks like
Oh
now.
my God, right?
Yeah,
So,
everything's gone. I'm so sad. I worked on it for like maybe a month, and
yeah,
because we worked on it in foundations a little
Mhm.
bit, and I decided that I wanted to build it and show you guys that I can do programming.
yeah.
I saw it, it looked really good.
It did look really good, I know.
The elusive project. But those are kinds of things, and for the students who are still here listening to your presentation, those are things that you can talk about in interviews, to say this huge failure that was in no way your fault occurred right before a major presentation, and yet your skills, your training, your background, your sort of type of working as like a self-starter allowed you to be able to say, I can put this other package together quite quickly and it will do. It's not what I wanted,
Right.
but you still were able to gather yourself up and produce something that would work, and
Right.
that is good.
I wanted to show too, I mean, this was probably easier than doing what I was doing. It's much easier.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to challenge myself
Mhm.
and show you at the end that this is what I've learned. I can do this. I went to DSU and I can build a website.
And a cool one.
Yeah.
Have you encountered that same kind of failure not due to your own mistakes or whatever, say at work or in other situations where something happened, something broke at work and you were faced with fixing it or dealing with it?
Yeah, I just got a phone call from a guy the other day. I can't tell you who it is. He's a client of mine, and he had decided he wanted to purchase these ads. And I said, okay. He said, I want to do co-op, which means he gets paid. So if you're a tire company and you're advertising for Firestone, you're going to get paid for Firestone from them. And so I said, okay, and I wrote him down. Well, then he called me back and he said, okay, well, you never mailed me these files. Well, the production guys didn't write down that it was co-op. I did, but they didn't. So I had to go in and take care of it and get him mail all the right stuff that day so that he still decided to buy from me next time. So that I didn't make him angry. I get angry sometimes.
Is that a kind of commission that you work on, that when you make those ads and make those deals, that somehow that has an influence on your pay?
Yeah, it's not really part of my position as business assistant, but I'm good at sales. So when they're overwhelmed or little things like that, when they have things like that for me to sell, I do it. So we're having an auction on Thursday, and I sold some of those things because everybody else is busy selling the big stuff.
Hey, thanks. Do you want to say hi to Michaela?
Hey, Michaela.